A major crisis is unfolding. Real estate and electric cars. Anyone who touches them will go bankrupt. Zhang Kouxia's soldiers controlled Zhongnanhai. Military leaders mysteriously disappeared. Many Shanghai homeowners are desperate as property values plunge.
It's all covered in today's China Truths.
A major crisis is unfolding. Real estate and electric cars, anyone who touches them will be destroyed. China's finance and real estate sectors have become a bottomless black hole. Anyone who dares to save them is doomed because demand has completely vanished. Anyone who touches the EV sector is also courting death. Its low-tech nature and massive overcapacity have turned it into a ticking time bomb. Even Shenzhen Metro Group, once enjoying a stable and privileged life, just dropped a financial shockwave. Due to its stake in Vanke, it's projecting a jaw-dropping loss of 33.46 billion yuan in 2024. A nightmare is coming for China's economy. China's electric vehicle, EV industry, is heading straight for a crash. Behind the hype lies brutal overcapacity. Factories are producing millions more cars than Chinese consumers can afford or want. Over 70% of EV startups are already dead or on life support. Even major players are slashing prices to unsustainable levels, burning cash just to stay alive. The tech gap is widening, with Chinese EVs still relying heavily on foreign chips and core components. What was once hailed as a national pride is quickly becoming a debt-fueled bubble, ready to burst. In 2024, over 50% of EV factories in China are running below capacity or have suspended operations. Smaller players like WM Motor and Bordrin have gone bankrupt, while major brands such as NIO and XPeng continue to suffer consecutive losses. Domestic EV sales are slowing, inventories are surging, and financial pressure is mounting across the sector. With government subsidies being cut and investors pulling out, the industry's cash-burning cycle shows no sign of ending. This is not just a temporary crisis, it's a death knell for an unsustainable growth model. In real estate, the epicenter of the earthquake is now Vanke. Was Fu Yuning right to abandon it? Unlike his predecessor Ning Gaoning, once Wang Shi's close ally, Fu cut ties and shifted China resources from brotherly warmth to cold distance. When Baoning stormed in, China resources fought once, then backed off, leaving Anbang to act. When Shenzhen Metro rode in as a white knight, China resources refused to endorse. Instead, it issued warnings, challenged the deal publicly, and called the regulators. Fu, a veteran of the 1998 crisis, knew real estate and likely saw Vanke's black hole long before others did. In China's collapsing property world, silence often says more than action. China's economy is spiraling into a full-blown crisis, with the epicenter found in the collapsing real estate and electric vehicle sectors. The real estate earthquake has already caused irreparable damage, and the EV industry, once hyped as the future, is now drowning in overcapacity and unsustainable growth. The looming tariffs from the U.S. only add fuel to the fire, further crippling trade and stifling any chance of recovery. Meanwhile, unemployment is reaching critical levels, and the youth, burdened by mounting debts and shrinking opportunities, face an uncertain future. As the country's economic structure crumbles, the tremors will be felt for years to come. Zhang Kouxia's soldiers controlled Zhongnanhai. Military leaders mysteriously disappeared. Do you know? The Chinese Communist Party's military has been really uneasy recently. A military game without the smoke of gunpowder is quietly unfolding. Now we see that the high-level military leaders of the Chinese Communist Party are disappearing one after another, and it is not an ordinary retirement or normal transfer. These are individuals who completely disappear from public occasions, and even their shadows are gone. Some don't even dare to mention their names. The entire website is deleted for you, and all resumes and profiles are removed, as if these people had never existed. The most eye-catching is Miao Hua. He was originally the director of the Political Work Department of the Central Military Commission. He had a very high status and was one of Xi Jinping's confidants. As early as November last year, it was reported that he was suspended for inspection. In the past 2 days, on April 30th, the authorities finally publicly stated that he was dismissed from the National People's Congress. Do you know what this means? It means that he is completely finished. According to the CCP's routine, as long as a person is dismissed from the National People's Congress, it is almost a prelude to going to prison, with no way out. Moreover, this time the purge of Miao Hua is not just about saying that he accepted bribes or lived a corrupt life. The real point is that he formed a gang and attempted to interfere with the military personnel layout at the 21st National Congress of the Communist Party of China. This is a very serious political crime. There is also something strange. He was investigated as early as last year, but the news was not made public until now. Is there a greater political role behind this? Is someone suppressing the news from being exposed? Now that he is released, does it mean that some people can't hold on, or that he has been completely suppressed by another faction? Speaking of the other faction, we have to mention Zhang Kouxia. He is now the vice chairman of the Central Military Commission and was promoted by Xi Jinping. However, there have been rumors recently that he has begun to purge Xi's people, or in other words, to protect himself. Does this sound familiar? The usual operation of the top leaders of the Communist Party of China is to move the whole body with one move. Zhang Kouxia's recent actions are also very suspicious. He now brings a large number of personal guards wherever he goes. It is said that even Zhongnanhai has been sealed off by his people, and all escape routes are controlled by the army. Once something happens, no senior official in Beijing can escape. Can you believe it? A vice chairman of the military commission has sealed off the entire power center in Beijing. This is no longer just about safety. I've heard that no one dares to touch him now. Why? Because he has guns, soldiers, and real power. Even the Central Security Bureau has to listen to his orders. What's even stranger is that the Xianshan Forum preliminary meeting held during this period is an important platform for the CCP's foreign military diplomacy. Officials and media from more than 30 countries came, but did you know? Not a single military leader from the Central Military Commission showed up. Even vice chairmen such as Zhang Kouxia and He Weidong disappeared. What does this mean? It shows that the top military leaders have no time to engage in diplomacy now, and they are all inward-looking. The entire military commission seems to be paralyzed, and no one can handle the diplomatic situation. Only low-level officials can hold the scene. This kind of situation has almost never been seen in the history of the CCP. They don't even want to maintain appearances, which shows the degree of internal chaos. What is even more exaggerated is that someone released a document said to be from the Politburo meeting on March 31st, which redefines the text and says it is a serious mistake. It also emphasizes that the third plenary session of the 11th Central Committee was a great turning point. The entire document does not mention Xi Jinping or Xi's core once. Do you think this is normal? Hasn't the CCP been hanging Xi Jinping thought on everything in recent years? Now the entire document avoids his name. What does it mean? It means that Xi Jinping is being sidelined. At least in terms of words, he is no longer the only core. Another very important thing that many people have not noticed is that the official websites of the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection and the National Supervisory Commission have recently quietly removed all anti-corruption news involving Zhang Kouxia's family. This is too unusual. If Miao Hua was dealt with, then the negative news about Zhang Kouxia was also removed. Does it mean that someone is deliberately protecting him? This purge is not just a simple anti-corruption campaign, but a real reorganization of military power. Don't underestimate the impact of this incident. Once the CCP system becomes unstable in the military, the entire regime will collapse like a brand. Don't forget that in many dynasties in history, the military was in chaos first, and then the regime collapsed. And this time it is not just a general replacement of military leaders, but a purge of the entire military commission level, including the rockets, strategic support force, armed police, joint logistic support force. The heads of these key departments have all had problems. This is no longer a purge. The entire army is being rebuilt. In summary, the changes in the Chinese Communist Party's military this time are not simply personnel changes, but a reshuffle of power. And this game is far from over. Will there be a bigger figure to fall next? Will Zhang Kouxia become the next scapegoat, or will he become the new military power controller? Let us wait and see. The third session of the 14th National People's Congress, NPC, of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, concluded on the afternoon of March 11th. The closing session was marked by several unusual occurrences. During the meeting, Xi Jinping appeared solemn, absent-minded, and dazed, looking diagonally downward while constantly rubbing his hands, seemingly massaging his thighs. Previously, Xi had shown signs of an unsteady gait during multiple overseas visits, struggling to descend from planes and requiring assistance from handrails to stabilize himself. At the beginning of the closing session, Mr. Li Hongzhang, vice chairman of the NPC Standing Committee, announced that Zhao Leiji, chairman of the NPC Standing Committee, would be absent due to a respiratory infection, and that he would preside over the session on Zhao's behalf. Zhao, 68, is the third-ranking member of the CCP Politburo Standing Committee, ranking only below Xi Jinping and Premier Li Qiang. Zhao also missed the closing session of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, CPPCC, on March 10th, marking the first time in nearly 20 years that a Politburo Standing Committee member has been absent from such an event. Analysts point out that, in the past, the health conditions of top CCP officials, including the President, General Secretary, Premier, and other Politburo Standing Committee members, were considered state secrets, with no public disclosure of their illnesses. The public revelation of Zhao's health condition is, therefore, highly unusual. Zhao's illness appears to have been sudden, as he presided over the NPC's opening session on March 5th and delivered a work report at the NPC session on March 8th. Meanwhile, Wang Huning, chairman of the CPPCC and a Politburo Standing Committee member, also drew attention during the two sessions. At the opening ceremony of the third session of the 14th CPPCC on March 4th, netizens observed that Wang seemed to be breathing heavily during his speech. One comment noted that Wang appeared to have nasal issues and was gasping throughout his speech. However, Wang still attended and presided over the CPPCC closing session on March 10th. CCTV footage showed that aside from Zhao Leiji's absence, Xi Jinping, Li Qiang, Cai Qi, Ding Xuexiang, Li Shi, and Chinese Vice President Han Zheng were all seated on the podium. The respiratory issues of Wang Huning and Zhao Leiji have drawn attention to the ongoing influenza outbreak. Reports indicate that since late last year, China has experienced a major outbreak of what authorities claim is influenza A, H1N1, with a rising number of sudden deaths among young and middle-aged individuals, including prominent figures. However, independent commentator Kai Shenkun questioned the official explanation for Zhao Leiji's absence. Posting on the overseas social media platform X, he suggested that Xi Jinping has been indiscriminately purging Zhao's close associates, despite Zhao's high-ranking position as the third-ranking Politburo Standing Committee member and chairman of the NPC. If Zhao cannot even protect his own people and has lost his basic dignity, his public absence from the two sessions could signal an escalation in internal power struggles, potentially reaching a life-or-death level. Observers widely believe that Zhao is not part of Xi's faction, but rather a loyalist of Jiang Zemin and Zheng Qinghong. Since 2023, several of Zhao's former subordinates, both from his tenure as Secretary of the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection and as Party Secretary of Shanghai, have been investigated, fueling speculation about the stability of his political standing. Additional signs from the two sessions have sparked concerns about internal CCP power struggles. On March 7th, Zhang Kouxia, vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, presided over a meeting of the NPC delegation from the military and the People's Armed Police. CCTV footage showed the presence of Li Qiaoming, the former army commander, who had been rumored to be under investigation since late 2024. On March 10th, the Taiwanese media outlet New Talk reported that Li's appearance had led to speculation about Xi Jinping's weakening control over the military. The report noted that Li Qiaoming was previously seen as a close associate of Zhang Kouxia, as both shared an army background and had crossed paths during the Sino-Vietnamese War, later maintaining close ties in the Shenyang military region. This shift has lent credibility to claims that military power is tilting in Zhang's favor. The report further stated that since the third plenary session in July 2024, signs of Xi Jinping's weakening authority have become increasingly apparent, with significant personnel reshuffles in military leadership. Xi's loyalists have been progressively sidelined, while Zhang Kouxia has continued to expand his influence since the military reforms, consolidating a strong support network within the army. As corruption scandals engulf the rocket force and the equipment department, Xi's grip on the military has significantly weakened, while Zhang Kouxia has steadily gained greater control. In addition to Li Qiaoming's unexpected appearance, observers have also noted the unexplained disappearances of several senior Chinese Communist Party officials, including Yuan Huaji, the political commissar of the Navy and a member of the National People's Congress, Wang Chuning, commander of the Armed Police Force, Luo Qi, chief engineer of China National Nuclear Corporation, and Xu Dazhe, the former secretary of the Hunan Provincial Party Committee who came from the aerospace sector. According to a recent report by the Financial Times, the number of Chinese military delegates attending the two sessions has decreased from 281 in 2023 to 267 in 2024, with 14 officials removed due to corruption investigations. However, Chinese Communist Party authorities have not made any public announcements regarding their whereabouts. Independent commentator Du Zheng wrote in Shanghai that in recent years, the Chinese Communist Party has handled some senior officials without public disclosure. Many were dealt with internally, and some were even executed in secret. Du Zheng pointed out that this practice is nothing new in CCP history. From party purges and rectification to hunting traitors and suppressing the AB group, violent terror has always been a means for the CCP to consolidate the top leader's dictatorship. Under Xi Jinping, such operations have become even more opaque. The article cited a 2016 case where Japanese scholar Suzuki Hideji was arrested in Beijing for espionage. After his release and return to Japan in 2022, he revealed that while in prison, he heard rumors that the Chinese ambassador to Ireland had been secretly sentenced to death for espionage. He also mentioned that Tang Benyuan, a former counselor at the Chinese embassy in Japan who had been in contact with him, was arrested and has since disappeared, with speculation that he was likely executed. Suzuki stated that CCP espionage trials and outcomes are never made public. Zhou Guogong, a former department-level official, also revealed in the U.S. that a Central Military Commission official once mentioned in a party class that many officials were sentenced to death annually, but such cases were never disclosed. The report also highlighted the mysterious case of former Foreign Minister Qin Gang. In July 2024, an official announcement stated that he had resigned from his CPC Central Committee and National People's Congress positions, but his whereabouts remained unknown. Rumors ranged from an extramarital affair and a spy case to speculation that he had died. Wen Zhao, a Canada-based cultural scholar and independent media commentator, noted that the number of purged CCP officials is likely far higher than estimated. Public records show that from 2012 to 2024, 6 million party members were investigated and punished in the anti-corruption campaign. However, if those who disappeared without public records are counted, the actual number is likely much higher. Wen Zhao specifically noted that during Mao Zedong's era, persecution involved instigating and coercing ordinary people into participating in crimes. In contrast, under Xi Jinping, a Soviet-style purge has been carried out within the system, characterized by focusing resentment on individual leaders and specific executive agencies. As a result, this type of purge is more likely to create instability within the political system. Moreover, for those who take over power, simply denouncing their predecessors allows them to gain support from the current elite. Wen Zhao noted that Xi Jinping's purge, like Mao Zedong's rule, is defined by its longevity. Since taking power in 2013, Xi has ruled for 12 years, during which ordinary citizens have faced economic decline, harsh poverty eradication, and falling incomes. However, for fallen elites, this period has been catastrophic, worse than for the general public. Unlike the Soviet Great Purge, which ended in just over 2 years, Xi's prolonged purge has left the public disengaged, with no personal stake in defending the system. If it collapses, mass resistance is unlikely. Meanwhile, disillusioned elites, stripped of long-standing agreements, have grown resentful and lost the will to defend the regime. As a result, Xi's CCP is more unstable than under Mao, and even more fragile than Stalin's Soviet Union.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.